little bit. So today we're going to be talking specifically about intent to register, or ITR, as you might have heard it being referred to. So intent to register is essentially a student letting the university know what they intend to register in the following year and asking those programs or letting those programs know that they are interested in. All first year students have to do an intent to register because you're all in a general first year program. So you're all in kinesiology at the moment. And certainly you maybe have picked your courses geared towards one module or the other. You're just not in those modules as of yet. So that's where you need to let us know on your ITR what your hope is moving forward. Once you're a senior student, if you're not making any module changes, then you don't have to do an ITR. You can, but you don't have to. But if you wanted to add a minor or change your module in a future year, you can do that as well, and you would do that through the same process as what we're doing now. When are we doing our intent to register? So like I mentioned, it does open today and it goes all the way until April 2nd. If you do not do an intent to register, we do not know moving forward that you want to be considered for kinesiology. So occasionally we'll have students message us in the summer and say, hey, I don't have an enrollment appointment. I can't register any classes. Well, it's because they didn't do their intent to register, so they weren't activated in a particular program. So you want to make sure that you do that by April 2nd. Now, on the off occasion that you do forget, you can always reach out to our office and we can do a manual one after the fact, but obviously within the timeline is ideal. In May is when we evaluate all of those requests, because at that point we will have all of your final grades from both first and second semester. So once you've submitted your ITR, you don't hear anything right away. We will process all of those requests in May, and then your program should be published to your student center in early to mid-June. Now, you're not notified when those program changes are published, unfortunately, so you just need to keep sort of checking on your student center around that time, and the program will be published there. And then all students will enroll in courses in July. So the first full week of July will be fourth years, then third years, then second years. So you'll be a little bit later in the summer, but we, of course, are here all summer to help with course selection and things. How you would have gotten an email hopefully with these steps outlined also, but through your student center, you're going to go through the tiles, my academics, program status, and then select on intent to register. So it should be easy to find in there. And like I said, you can access it as many times as you need if you do decide to make some changes. They're just going to use your most recent attempt after that deadline passes. Admissions. So what you're really asking for on your intent to register is, hey, I would like to be in the Bachelor of Science in Kin, or I would like to be in psychology, or I would like to be in X program. So because kinesiology is limited enrollment, we do have some requirements that we're looking for. Additionally, other honors modules would have similar requirements. So I'm just going to outline those for you now. Both the Bachelor of Science and Clinical Kin are limited enrollment, and then the BA is a little bit more flexible. We'll chat about that. So for the Bachelor of Science, there is only 75 spaces, as you know. When we are progressing students or admitting students from year 1 to year 2, we are looking for a minimum 70% term average. So when I say term average, that is all of your courses from first year. We're looking for a minimum 70% modular average, which is your 4 half-kin courses plus physiology. We're also looking for no grade less than 60% in first year. And we're also looking for the students who are interested in the BSc to have completed 1.0 science credits at the 1000 level. Now that is required to be 1.0 in the same area. So 1.0 credits in biology. So biology 1001, 1002. Chemistry 1301, 1302. If you have half a bio, half a math, you would not be eligible for this year. You could be eligible in the future, but that would not meet our requirements moving from year 1 to year 2. The modular average is typically what is competitive. So that average does go up from the minimum to fill those 75 spaces most years. Last year's average was a 75%, and it is typically in that area between a 74.5, a 75.5, that type of marks. I have seen it as low as a 73, and I've seen it as high as a 78.5, but typically it sort of fluctuates in that little middle ground there. And it could go higher if more people want it, or more successful students, or your grades are super high this year, which I hope they are. Um, if you select the BSc and you are not eligible, our review is comprehensive. So what I mean by that is, on your intent to register, you will have a first choice and a second choice. You wouldn't put Kinesiology BSc as your first choice and Kinesiology BA as your second choice. Kin can only be your first choice on that intent to register. So if you select a limited enrollment module like the BSc or clinical kin, if you're not eligible, we automatically will review you for the honors spec BA, and then we will automatically review you for the major as well. And then your second choice has to be something outside of kin. Now, because BSc and clinical kin are both limited enrollment modules, you do have to pick one or the other. So if you're leaning more towards BSc, pick that one, or clinical. And then if you don't get either of those, we will review you for the BA and the major, like I said, but you have to pick one or the other for the limited enrollment modules. Now, we will consider you if you have less than 5.0 credits. That's not a mandatory requirement to be admitted into year 2, but you must have that 1.0 science credits to be eligible. And if you do something this summer, while that might help you in the future, it is not going to change the decision for September 2025. So the summer session might help you in the long run, but it's not going to change the outcome for this year. And if you do have questions about summer and that sort of thing, you can always reach out to me or Jess. Oh, did I go too far? No, I did. Perfect. For the BA, this one is not limited enrollment. So we are looking for those three things again. So the 70% term average, the 70% modular average, which is your 4 kin courses and physiology, and no grade less than 60. So in the past, if you have met those minimum requirements, then you are admitted to the program. The BA is not competitive. And that applied to transfer students in previous years as well. We will admit students to the BA if they do not have all of the first year prerequisites. So for transfer students, or if you had to reduce your course load for some reason, you could still be eligible for kin. Even if you had to drop one of our required courses, you would just simply take it once you were admitted. And again, we don't reassess after summer courses. For clinical kin, again, the three main topics or the three main criteria that we're looking for, that 70% term average, which is all of your courses, the 70% modular average, which is your 4 kin courses and physiology, and no grade less than 60. Hypothetically, this program could be competitive. So if we had a lot of interest in the program, that minimum modular average could go up. But last year we had enough spaces for everyone who asked for it, so they just had to meet that minimum criteria of 70%. So it was not competitive last year. You hear 40 spaces and you think it's going to be super high, but typically it is in the low 70s if competitive. Again, you have to select either clinical kin or BSc, and our review is comprehensive. So if you put clinical and you don't get it, we will look at you for the BA and the major, etc. Now for our major, certainly you can select that as your first choice on your intent to register. But what happens is as we're working through this process for intent to register, we have enough spaces in year 2 for everyone we admit into year 1. So if we are looking at the people who have met the criteria for the BA, honors, for the BSc, for clinical, oftentimes those students don't fill our program. So we do have to go slightly below those minimum requirements to fill the rest of the spaces in second year. So we will often look at students who have that 70% average, but a D or an F in an elective. Last year, I believe we went as low as a 66.5 with one D in an elective course. And what I mean by an elective is a D in a non-kin or physiology class. So say you took first year biology and you got a 55 in it, you could still be admitted to the major, but it is space permitting. So we don't know how many spaces we're going to have left after we've admitted everyone to those honors programs, but we do typically have space that we have to fill, and we do typically go lower. It's just a matter of how low are we going to go. Sometimes it's a 67, sometimes it's a 65, sometimes it's somewhere in the middle. And then we do look at those with 1D, maybe 1F as well. Spaces remaining, then we would go below 70, but all marks are above 60. So looking at the other criteria, but we typically stick to that 70% average with 1D or F. A letter of support. So as we're working through this process, if you're not admitted to the honors modules, you could potentially be admitted to the major, and then occasionally students will have to go undeclared, and then they find their way back to us, which I will touch on in a minute. But if you had circumstances in first year that were out of your control, maybe you had a long illness or a death in the family or some other circumstance that for compassionate reasons, we should consider when reviewing your request to be admitted to kin for year 2. You do have the opportunity to submit that letter of support. This is submitted directly to our office by April 30th. And what that allows us to do is consider the other things going on outside of the classroom that maybe negatively impacted your studies. You don't have to do this, but it would never harm a situation if there was more that you wanted to let us know about. With the letter of support, we do ask for as much detail as you're willing to share, along with supporting documentation, and know that the detail will only help you, and it is all kept confidential, so you don't have to worry about those details. In terms of confidentiality, we would maintain that for you. So definitely something to consider. And if you want to chat more about the letter of support, again, you can reach out to me and Jess and we can help you with that. So just a summary of the timeline. March, between February 26th and April 2nd, you submit your ITR. April, you would submit your letter of support. May, we will get all final grades and review each student for admission and progression. You're either eligible for kin or you're not. If you're eligible for kin, it could be in a variety of different programs, and that will be posted to your student center. If you're not eligible for kinesiology, that's something that we call undeclared status typically, where a student did not meet our requirements. They are no longer in health studies, they're still at Western, and they're shadowing the program as best as possible in hopes of returning to kin for third year. Now, it does sound a little bit scary, but it's not as scary as it may seem. With careful planning and consultation with Jess and myself, we can help you navigate that process, pick your courses for year 2, so that when you get back to us for year 3, you can still graduate in 4 years. So it doesn't mean if you have to spend a year away that it automatically means you're going to be here for 5 years or anything like that. You can still do 1.0 kin credits while you're away. You can do your category B, you can do essay credits, you can do electives that you're interested in, all things that would count towards your degree once you got back to us. And of course, we support non-kin students throughout the school year as well if you had any questions or concerns. So just to summarize some intent to register must-dos, kin, if you're interested in it, must be your first choice, and your second choice must be outside of kinesiology. As I mentioned, our review is comprehensive, so if you put a limited enrollment module, we look at all other modules before we would move to your second choice. If you are selecting a second choice, it is important that you do your research around that second choice option in the same way that you would want to do your research for additional modules. So if you're thinking, oh, for my backup plan, I'm going to pick Geography. It's critical that you have first year geography in order to be eligible for that module. And all of those details are listed in the academic calendar. In the same way, if you wanted to add a minor in geography, you would need that first year geography to combine that with kinesiology. With the additional modules, so adding a minor with an honor specialization or perhaps an honors double major, you don't have to do that. It's typically just out of interest. Minors are not printed on your diploma, but if you're interested in the subject area and you get really good grades in the courses, of course, that helps with GPA. And if you're excited about the content, that would be a great motivation to add a minor. And I will show you on the demo how to add those additional modules in there. If you select an additional module and you're not eligible for that, it does not impact our review of you for kinesiology. Those are reviewed separately. And be be conscious of if you're combining different things like an honor specialization and a major, that might need more than 20 credits. Now, anything is possible. You're more than welcome to do that, but you have to account for those extra credits, perhaps a summer course or something along those lines. Also, if you go into next year and you add a minor in something and you start taking more courses in it and you change your mind, maybe you want more flexibility or it's not the content you thought it was, minors and additional modules can be swapped pretty easily. You can do it on your next intent to register, or we can drop it for you. So you don't feel like if you've put it on there, it's set in stone and you're in that scenario for the long term. It is flexible, of course. Just discussing the second choice option. Again, it's important that you are researching the criteria for that second choice. So this example here, the student has all 4 of their kin courses: physiology, classical studies, and sociology. So for their second choice option, they would be able to indicate either classical studies or sociology, because those are the first year credits that they have that would open up alternative modules for them. Now, if this student knew that maybe they weren't going to get into kin for second year, but they want to work towards getting back into kin, they might select neither classical studies or sociology. They might decide to go undeclared in social science or arts. And what that allows you to do is have the most choice in what you're doing in your pathway to get back to kin, if that's what you choose to do. Now, if you're in first year kin and you're thinking, maybe kin's not what I want to do, then your second choice could prepare you or lead you in that direction. But if you're wanting to make your way back to us, being undeclared does give you the most flexibility. You are not going to be undeclared in health sciences. You would be moved to a different faculty, but you can still, like I said, take 1.0 kin credits. You can do other courses that are required for your module. And then on your intent to register in year 2, you would indicate kinesiology, hopefully make your way back to us for year 3 and still graduate on time with careful planning. Just a change to mention, if there is anyone interested in nursing, that is also done on your intent to register form. For both the collaborative program and the compressed timeframe nursing. And for Western's nursing program, if you're looking to apply outside of Western, you would have to apply through those channels. But if you're looking to apply to nursing within Western, you can do that through the ITR link there. For the collaborative program, it would still be 4 years, even if you've done 1 year in kin, and they are looking primarily at your high school prerequisites. And that would be something that you could apply for this year if you wanted to switch programs. They also have the compressed timeframe nursing. Now, this requires at least 10 university credits. So this would be something you would indicate on your ITR starting next year. And they would be looking primarily at your university credits at that point. But it is done through our ITR system. So just to summarize, kin must be your first choice and your only choice. Your second choice has to be outside of kinesiology. You want to make sure that you're reviewing the admission requirements for any other modules, either to combine with kin or as your backup plan. You have until April 2nd to complete that. Um, and we'll do a quick demo for you now. Just let me get this started here. Jess, can you see that okay? Yeah, okay. And here's 2500. Okay, so you'll see here, it's just a series of drop-down menus. And this will be for choice one, and then you have to do it all over again for choice two. So we'll say full-time, and then you're going to the Faculty of Health Sciences, and we'll say Bachelor of Arts in Kinesiology. So it's sort of starting sort of top level down in terms of organization. Now this is for the honors BA, and then the major is also listed there, either the 3 or the 4 year. So let's say this student chooses an honors. And then this is where you would add your additional modules. So you could select merely the honor specialization in kin. You don't have to add an additional module, but if you wanted to, you would select that here. So let's say we'll do an honor specialization plus a minor. Then you would select your kin program and then the minor that you were thinking of. So perhaps a minor in, let's say, foods and nutrition. And that's where you would select that. You would submit that, and then it would go to your second choice. Whereas if we go to, let's try a different, oops. We can go full-time. We'll go health sciences. And then we can do the Bachelor of Science. You'll see here Western Scholars as well. That is a separate program outside of your kin module, which you could research if you were interested in that. It has separate programming, it has extra scholarships, social events, that sort of thing that go along with it. And I believe the requirement is an 80% average. So you could look into that if you were interested. Sorry, Jess, did you have 90%?
90.
Apologies. So then we'll pick the BSc and Bachelor of Science. There's only the one option there. And then again, the combinations are available. So if we just wanted the honor specialization in kinesiology, you would hit continue and you have to hit kin one more time, and then you're done there. Now, if you were looking at your, so once you hit confirm, you will get an email confirming that first choice. And then when you go through your second choice, you'll get an email confirming that as well. So this one, like I said, has to be outside of kinesiology. So if you're thinking that, okay, if I don't get into kin, I would prefer to be undeclared rather than within a module, you would go to either science, social science, or arts and humanities. So we'll pick social science, for example. And then here, rather than picking a degree, you will see the undeclared option there. And then you do have to select it a few more times. And then you will hit continue and submit. But again, you could pick classical studies or sociology or whatever you were eligible for your backup plan. Jess, can you think of any other demos I should walk through, or should we go to some questions in the chat?
I think you've covered everything with the demos, Lindsay. Just a reminder, Lindsay made mention of this earlier in the session, that perhaps you make an error on submitting this form and you're wanting to make some adjustments. You can submit this form as many times as you would like from now until April the 2nd, and it will always be the last submission that you submit to us that we'll be using to determine eligibility through the adjudication process in the spring.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I think what we'll do is go ahead and shift into the question and answer period part of our session. So if you have any questions, you can either raise your hand, turn on your camera. We would love to see you, and we can go through that, or you can place your questions in the chat box.
Excuse me. I have a question about our summer course. Because I want to take Physiology 2130 this summer in order to replace my Physiology 1021, and I check out the deadline of the intent to register as at July. So, and the Physiology 2130, the final is at July, so whether it have some influence.
So as a reminder, when the School of Kinesiology is reviewing eligibility for admission into our programs, we will be using the grades in which you've achieved in the fall and winter session. So if you are looking to complete a course in the summer session, one that is maybe a first year prerequisite or you're hoping to improve your grades, we don't re-adjudicate after the summer session. So the decision that we provide for you in May and June is going to be the final decision. So what you could do if you're not eligible, but still, taking that physiology in the summer, is you could reapply to the School of Kinesiology in the next intent to register period for admission for the following year.
Oh, so it means it will have some influence, right?
If you take a course in the summer, it's not going to influence the decision for September 2025 admission.
Ah, okay, I see. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If
Thanks for the
if you did
question.
if you did not earn the necessary grade in physiology, however, it is still a good idea to do it in the summer. And then that mark will be used the next time you apply, like Jessica said, rather than if you wait and do it through the school year, you can still do that, but then you're a credit behind. Whereas if you make it up in the summer, then you sort of go into the following year with your full 5.0 credit. So it's still not a bad idea to do it in the summer for consideration in the future.
So we had another question on the chat. Lucas is asking us, hey guys, if we put the Western Scholars module as our first choice, will we be placed in the regular BA if we are not found to be eligible? Lindsay, you want to answer this?
Sure, yeah. The consideration for Western scholars would be separate from the consideration for the honors, BSc, or clinical. So you can still be eligible for the honors module and not be eligible for Western scholars. And we would just move you to the honors module without the Western scholars, not necessarily to the major.
All right, another question in the chat. Chloe's asking, as my second choice, I'm probably going to do sociology. What faculty is that in? So sociology would fall under the Faculty of Social Sciences. So when you're using those drop-down boxes on your ITR form, you're going to choose the Faculty of Social Sciences. So next question for Madison. She's asking, what is the difference between honor specialization and normal Bachelor of Arts? Lindsay, you want to take that?
Yeah, so just to give some clarity to the terms, within your 4-year degree, you have degree type. So we have a Bachelor of Arts, a Bachelor of Science, you might have a Bachelor of Nursing or a Bachelor of Engineering. So your degree type is sort of the overarching title. And within that, you can have different modules. So a minor is typically 4 to 5 credits. A major is 6 to 7, and then a specialization module is typically 9 to 11 credits. So for our modules, we also have the honors component. So your honors classification is based on the grades that you earn. So some programs are going to have an honor specialization and some will have a specialization. Where in kin, we only have an honor specialization. So that's where that grade requirement comes in. So that honor specialization is the highest number of credits you can do in kin. And the Bachelor of Arts or the Bachelor of Science is the degree type that you have selected.
Right. Moving on to the next question. I think we might have answered this for Kelly. Could you briefly explain the difference between the 4-year bachelor option and the honor specialization? So for students interested in graduating with their degree from Western, there's either 3-year bachelor's degrees or there's 4-year bachelor's degrees. So within those, as Lindsay had mentioned, we've got the modules. So for those wishing to graduate with an honors specialization or even say an honors double major, they would need to pursue a 4-year bachelor's degree. because you have to be able to have the ability to take all of those 20 credits and fit everything in within those 4 years. With the 3-year bachelor's degree, through the School of Kin, we offer a 3-year BA major in kinesiology. So this would require completion of a total of 15 credits. So that would limit the types of modules that you can include in that, and it would be limited to the major and then a minor if you wanted to try and squeeze all of that in within those 3 years. So we had another question on the chat from Indira. What is the difference between clinical and the other modules? Lindsay, you want to take that?
Sure, yeah. So our BA is the most flexible module that we have. You have some required kinesiology courses, but then 5.0 of your 9.5 or 10 required credits are kin courses of your choosing. And then your electives again are 5.0 electives again of your choosing. The Bachelor of Science is very structured both within kinesiology and within your electives. So students in the Bachelor of Science have 2.5 kin electives, so kin courses of their choosing, but they have more categories where you have to pick 2 from this box, that kind of thing. And then their electives are more prescribed as well because they do have to take some senior science credits. Clinical kinesiology is sort of that middle ground where most of your kin courses are selected for you. So it's fairly prescribed in terms of your kin content, but you do have 4.0 external electives that are of your choosing. Some of the special things about clinical kin is that there are some unique clinical kin courses that clinical kin students have first access to. Remaining spaces do open to students later in the summer, but there are some priority access to some of those classes, including things like different chronic disease, injuries, intro to clinical kin, professionalism, entrepreneurship, and then they are also guaranteed a full credit of practicum in 4th year, and that is a practicum that is more clinic-based or clinician-based. So that is a guarantee for clinical kin students, whereas students in the other module certainly can apply to practicums, and we have lots of choice, but it's not guaranteed in the same way that it is for clinical kin. So if you're uncertain which module might be the best fit for you, what I would do is go to the academic calendar and click through all the required courses. And if you would choose most of those anyways, then you might enjoy the structure of that degree. If there's only some of them that you want to do, perhaps the BA would be a better fit because then you'll have more choice in the matter.
Next question is from Braden. Could you briefly re-explain how it works when you choose a minor and what are the requirements/expectations? So when you think about your degree in its entirety, if you're doing a 4-year degree, you're going to choose and complete 5.0 first-year courses. And then from there, you have 15 more credits to complete for graduation. So within those 15 senior credits, you're going to be completing your module courses for whether it's an honor specialization in kin or it's going to be, the major in kin courses. If you're in the BSc, you may have some science elective courses that have to be completed. So when you're choosing to do a minor, when you're looking at those remaining 15 credits, of those credits, 4 or 5 of those are going to be your minor module courses. So if you are interested in a certain subject that really brings you joy and you have a passion, then if you see yourself taking additional courses in that subject area, those would be your module courses. And the module courses are laid out for specific minor modules on the Western Academic Calendar website. So we really encourage you to do a search for those on the academic calendar so that you can get a better sense as to, number one, what courses you would need to complete as part of your undergrad studies to fulfill the requirements for a minor module. But you should also take a look at the admission requirements for a minor. It's important for you to know what you need to achieve in perhaps certain first-year courses in order to qualify for admission into the module when you list it on your intent to register form. Once you're admitted into a minor module, there may also be certain progression requirements that you need to meet, and those may also be listed on the Western Academic Calendar. So next question is from Jacob. It says, on the intent to register form, I didn't see the clinical kin option. Where would I find it? Lindsay?
I will show you. So if we click on the demo here, let me enter my student number. So we're going to go to full-time. So clinical kin is a Bachelor of Arts. So we're looking at the Faculty of Health Science, Bachelor of Arts, School of Kinesiology. And then we have to make sure that we hit the honors module because clinical kin is only an honors specialization. There isn't a clinical 4-year major or a 3-year major. And then the specialization. And then you'll see here you have both options, the sort of general BA and then the clinical kinesiology BA is listed there also.
Hopefully that pathway and demo will work for you, Jacob. I'm just seeing here as we are continuing with the session, more and more of your intent to register forms are coming in, which is absolutely great. Get that completed and checked off your to-do list. Next question is from Ethan. Ethan asks, I know this question was already asked, but if you put Western scholars but don't achieve the 90 average, does it go to your second choice or go to the regular version? If you are not eligible for Western honors, we will still consider you for that first choice that you've listed on your ITR form. If you're not eligible for that first choice, then we'll go to your next choice. Next question, could you help me to explain, or can you help to explain what the difference is between kinesiology specialization and kinesiology major and minor? Does the kinesiology specialization have more mandatory courses? Lindsay?
Yeah, so there's no minor in kinesiology, but we do have an honor specialization and a major, both a 3 and a 4-year. So a major is typically 6 to 7 credits, and the specialization is 9 to 11. So out you have your 5 first-year credits, you have your 15 senior level courses. Your major will be sort of 6 or 7 of those 15, or an honor specialization would be probably 9 to 10 of those senior 15 credits. So you are more specialized in kinesiology through an honor specialization, whereas doing a major and a minor or a double major gives you a bit more flexibility in terms of what you're doing in those 15 credits, but it would be fewer kin courses.
Excuse me. So if I want to choose simple one and I also want to choose some non-mandatory course, so I can choose a major plus minor, right? Right?
So if you wanted to choose kinesiology, so your honor specialization BA in kinesiology would be 9.5 credits. That would
Yeah.
leave you 5.5 credits of electives. You could use those 5.5 credits towards a minor or just electives of your choosing. If you wanted to do a major, that would be 6.5 credits. A minor would be probably 4. That takes you to 10.5 credits in total. That would still leave you approximately 4.5 credits for electives. So certainly a major and a minor is going to be a lot more flexible, but it's not an honors degree, if that was an important consideration for you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
No problem.
The next question is from Josh. Does the ITR process change from what was explained if you have the IVAEO status? Am I allowed to select an honors program with the HBA double major or just the regular BA major? So good question, Josh. So if you are a student who holds Western AEO status or Advanced Entry Opportunity status, and you're currently in year 1, this is not going to change your intent to register. There will be conditions that you would have to maintain in order to continue with your IVHBO status. And then it would be in year 3 that you would be working to move over into the IVHBA1 program, where you're going to spend the next 2 years completing your HBA. Now, this actually brings up an interesting question whereby if you're interested in combining your studies in kinesiology with the HBA program, you can request for that combined degree, but it won't occur until you are a student registered in the HBA program at Ivy. in year one of your HBA1 program. So if you're currently in year one, don't worry about that right now, but you may want to have discussions with Lindsay or I about your plans for IB, so that we can help you to plan your courses accordingly so you're prepared to fulfill their admission requirements. All right. Chloe had a question. If my average is significantly higher than a 70, I'm likely to get the honors BA specialization, right? Lindsay?
Yes. For the honors BA, honors specialization Bachelor of Arts, it's not competitive. So if you have that 70% term average, 70% modular average, no grade less than 60, it would be guaranteed for you.
Right, Devin had a question about for postgraduate roles like med school or physiotherapy school, is a BSc valued more than a BA? Simply put, if you're looking at programs across Canada, no, there is no preference between a BSc or a BA. We here in advising really encourage you to select a module and a degree plan that really resonates with what you're passionate about and what your interests are, because that typically translates into you performing well in your courses. And it will be how you perform in those courses that are going to determine your eligibility for admission to those postgraduate professional schools. So yeah, if you're having a hard time trying to choose between the two, the biggest question to ask yourself is, do you like sciences? If you do like sciences, you see yourself taking more science courses, either in kinesiology or even just external sciences, then yes, you may want to consider applying into the BSc stream. All right, Indira has a follow-up question. Can you re-explain the nursing option? Can we place it as a second option, or is the only way to apply through a separate ITR?
For
Lindsay?
nursing, it's sort of both. You would do your first choice for, say, kinesiology, and then the nursing ITR portion actually redirects you to Qualtrics form on their end. So you would do our intent to register and the nursing intent to register. And then if you got into nursing, they would let us know and we would cancel your one for kinesiology. So you sort of do both kin and nursing because nursing sort of redirects you to another site.
Arian had a question. Could you get BSc with a 65 in 1060? I'd assume that's kin 1060, but everything else meeting the requirements. So as Lindsay mentioned earlier, and just so you're aware, we will be posting this session on our website. It should be available by either tomorrow or Friday. But on that slide, you may recall that admission is competitive. And so meeting the minimum requirements does not guarantee admission. But with a grade of 65 in anatomy, you are meeting those minimum requirements for that first year prerequisite course. So yes, it is possible that you may be considered for admission into the BSc, so long as you meet that competitive admissions average, and all of the other courses are greater than 60%. Macy asked a question, what faculty is family studies in, Linz?
That's it. What are we calling themselves these days?
The Brescia School of Food and
School of,
Nutritional Sciences.
yes.
Which is, well, that's the school, but
Yeah.
family studies also lives under the Faculty of Health Sciences. And then Emma asked about what psychology, which faculty psychology is in. That is within the Faculty of Social Sciences. Ooh, Georgia asks a really good question. Sorry, I know you already said, but can I choose health sciences as my second choice? Lindsay?
You can choose health science as your second choice, but health science is also competitive. Um, so if you were potentially not eligible for kinesiology, then you would also likely not be eligible for health sciences. They, unlike kinesiology, where we don't require all of the first year courses, they do require all of the first year courses. So the health science courses and biology, I believe, but you'd want to check the academic calendar for that. But they are also limited enrollment. So you can, and if your marks are strong and you're not sure, you could put both. But if you're eligible for kin, then they would never look at the health science option anyways. Anything to add to that, Jess?
No.
Okay.
So the next question is about finding more information about what non-kin elective options you have in the Honor Specialization BA and the Honor Specialization Clinical Kin. Lindsay, do you think this is a good time to maybe bring up one of the program planning guides
Sure, yeah.
that we can basically show you how, and we work with students to plan out their degree as well as their module.
Sorry. Just let me get that. Hmm. So these are being currently updated. So new ones should be posted. My hope is probably end of next week. And we will send an email out to students when all of the new ones are posted. But let me share my screen. Jess, can you just confirm you can see
Yeah, we
the
can see
file?
that.
Okay, so if we're looking at, so this is just on our website under programs. If you go to, let's say, clinical kinesiology, under program resources, it links you to both the academic calendar as well as the program planning guides that we create. So this is a nice visual of the different requirements. So if you add up these black boxes here, those total 20. So you have all of your first year credits, and then all of these would be your senior courses. So within clinical kinesiology, they have 5.5 external electives throughout their senior 3 years. So that's years 2, 3, and 4. And if we wanted to compare that to, what was it, the BA, Jess?
Yeah, BA.
And then the BA, these students have 5.5 external electives, sorry, 5.0 external electives that they get to choose, but they have a lot more choice within their kinesiology courses. So these students have 5.0 kin electives, whereas the clinical kin students have no kin electives. All of their courses are outlined for them for the most part.
Right. So I think the next question actually relates to the honor specialization in clinical kin. So if you want to leave it there, Lindsay. So the next question is, can you explain the clinical kinesiology pathway and how placements work? And can you do clinical kin in business like the HBA? So I'll answer the first part of that question, which is the pathway. So I think for pathway, this is a really great illustration of the courses that you would be required to take or to choose from as part of this program. And then in terms of the placement, you'll see that in the middle of the page there at the bottom, there's a course called KIN 4590, and this is the clinical KIN placement. So this particular course, you'll see in the notes there that it's taken in your 4th year of university studies. So if you're admitted into this particular program, you can expect in your 4th and final year that you'll be taking this full credit clinical placement from September until April. So that particular placement will be in a clinical setting. If you are an international student, this is a really great pathway for you because it does allow you, in meeting the immigration requirements, study permit requirements, for you to be able to complete practical work while you're here, because it's included with your degree. So the second part of that question is, can you do clinical kin in business like the HBA? So our partnership with the Richard Ivey School of Business and that HBA program is specifically for students who want to combine the HBA alongside the 4-year honors, Bachelor of Arts honors specialization. So you'll find now on our website that is linked to sport management because that was one of our old partnerships. So that has since been discontinued and we've replaced that with the HBA BA honor specialization in kinesiology. So once we have our program planning guides updated, next week, we will have that information listed here for you so you can get a better sense as to what courses you're going to take as part of the program. Next question is from Kayla. If you get into both of your choices, do you have the opportunity to choose or do you just have to stick with your first choice? So for example, if your first choice is a BSc Kin and your second choice being nursing. Linz, do you want to answer that question?
Sure, yeah. Nursing would be unique in that both programs will review you because the nursing process is done sort of linked through the ITR form, but in their own process. So they will review you, we will review you, and then if they admit you, they will let us know, and then we would give that spot to someone else because presumably you would have selected nursing. For students who put two choices in a traditional way, so choice one, choice two, if you're admitted to choice one, choice two is not reviewed. So you want to be certain that your first choice is the one that would be your preference, but nursing is unique, where both programs will review the request.
Sure. I don't see any other questions in the chat. Lindsay, do you see any risen hands on your screen there for participants?
I do not. Nope, I think we're good.
Well, we really thank you for joining us for the session today. We know that you're going to, after logging off, have lots of questions still that you may need answers for as you're filling out your intent to register form before April the 2nd. So we encourage you to utilize the live Kin chat during our hours throughout the week, Monday through Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 11, and then in the afternoons, Monday through Thursday from 1:30 to 3. That's where you can talk to us directly. And yeah, I think, Lindsay, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I thank you all so much for being here. We will post this session, like Jess said, on the website, hopefully by the end of the week, so that if you wanted to rewatch it or you had questions that maybe we chatted about but you couldn't remember, that will be linked there for you. And we will also send out the link via email to all the first year students, so that you have that and you know that it's been posted for review. But the chat is your best bet in terms of resource, if you do have intent to register questions, and just keep that April 2nd deadline in mind. Thank you so much.